Man tries to kill his wife over kids that aren't his. Let's get to it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Following breaking news out of Sterling Heights, where police say a husband shot his wife in her work parking lot. That shooting happened at the Pomeroy Living Center on 15 Mile near DeQuinder. Gina Vici has an update on the victim's condition and the investigation.
Yeah, this is still a very active scene behind me. Take a look at this. Look at the bullet casing markings on the ground here. Sterling Heights police saying around 8 o'clock this morning they received a 911 call that a woman had been shot in the parking lot here at the Pomeroy Living Center off of 15 Mile near DeQuinder. We're told an employee was shot by her husband in the parking lot. We're told they both lived in the city of Warren and that the husband came up to his wife's employer and shot her several times. Police thankfully were able to respond to the scene within seconds. The wife was rushed to a nearby hospital where she is still alive. Police encountered the husband, who was armed with a revolver, and were able to take him into custody. Here is Captain Mario Bastianelli talking about the moment.
Do y'all see how many evidence markers that it is on the ground? A revolver is a 6-shooter. All right, he didn't have a switch. He didn't have a shotgun. He didn't have none of that. Look at how many evidence markers is on the ground. You see all them evidence markers? That's the I'ma shoot you, and then I'ma reload, and I'ma shoot you again, and then I'ma reload, and then I'ma shoot you again. It's way more than 11, 12 shots. If you got a 6-shooter, and then you shoot, and then you got some more bullets, and you put it in there, and then you shoot again, and you hitting her, and she still survived. Her demons still want her on this earth. Don't worry about it. Y'all say I'm victim shaming. We gonna get to it.
Shot by her husband in the parking lot. We're told they both lived in the city of Warren and that the husband came up to his wife's employer and shot her several times. Police thankfully were able to respond to the scene within seconds. The wife was rushed to a nearby hospital where she is still alive. Police encountered the husband, who was armed with a revolver, and were able to take him into custody. Here is Captain Mario Bastianelli talking about the moment officers encountered the gunman.
Like I said, our officers were here, very quickly, so which makes all the difference in the world of somebody with a gun and they're actively shooting at people. So this happened to be a targeted incident because it was a domestic situation, but you never know how these things are going to transpire, right? How they're going to work out. Officers show up, you have a guy with a gun, does he go peacefully, or does this end up turning into a shootout with our officers? It's a very stressful situation on everybody, including our officers arriving. All in all, a good ending to a bad situation.
Again, we're told the female victim is expected to survive despite being shot several times in the body. And again,
you see all of them evidence markers? Do you see all of the yellow and the blue all around in the parking lot? Boy, do you know how many shots that is?
her husband has been taken into custody. No word yet on when he could be charged.
Now, some people are saying, oh my God, he's a demon. Well, is he? I heard, and this is what the words on the street is in Metro Detroit here. And so I did a little digging and a little research because I didn't want to react to it right away without getting all of the insight because the news is limiting the amount of information. He said that the only victim was the husband. The chat is saying that, some of the guys. He had to have another weapon, says Jody. Sounds like a case of friends from the opposite sex, CDV. Well, here's the thing. Attempted murder for the big dog, even though she is a piece of all right, so let me give y'all the whole skinny. All right? Let me give y'all the whole skinny. Natasha says, I'm glad that the kids still have a parent. What if I told you, Natasha, that the reason that this man allegedly, all right, because I'm going to put some money on his on his GoFundMe. I'm going to put some money on it. I promise you I'm going to put some money on it. If they come up with a GoFundMe for this guy's defense fund, I am going to donate to it. I've already made up my mind. Anton, I can't believe you would do something like that. Well, Natasha, what if I told you, because I don't usually respond to people that don't have profile photos, but I'm going to respond to you. What if I told you that they were married for 9 years? 9 years. And in those 9 years, they had 3 children. And of those 3 children, this man found out that 0 were his. What if I told you that what was really happening? Because no man just walks up and he just goes over to his wife's job in the middle of the day and they have a Warren home together and 3 children. And Natasha said, I showed no proof. Oh, you didn't need any proof to know that they had kids together, but you need proof as of whether or not she's actually he's the biological father of the children that he allegedly tried to kill, right? You see how people have selective hearing? What would cause a man to go up to his wife's job? And he lives in Warren, which is a suburb of Detroit. And she works in Sterling Heights, which is also a suburb of Detroit. What do you think? What could possibly drive a man to go and get his revolver and grab all of the bullets that he can possibly find and go out and try to eliminate his wife at her place of work? And she survived. That's the key. And she survived. The only thing that could drive a man to do something like this is a temporary insanity as a result of being in a PTSD situation and in shock at something that he discovered that she was doing that was diabolical. And let me tell you this. She did. Thank you, Chip. You figured, you got it. You got it. She played in his face. She played in his face and made him look like a fool. She ain't just make him look like a fool. She embarrassed him. And I will tell you this. That you would be surprised at why people are advocating against paternity at birth. I've seen people argue me down on panels about the possibility of establishing paternity at birth. Y'all pay for all of this health insurance. You pay for the delivery of the baby. You do all of this, but y'all don't want to establish paternity at birth. I've seen people argue me down. Now, why would women argue me down about establishing paternity at birth? Shouldn't that just be standard? That should almost like be establishing your blood type. A positive, O negative, right? That should be establishing your blood type, right? To figure that out, to do all of the tests, to make sure that you're on top of things. And we are advocating. That's how far behind we are. And that's why the gender war is what it is today. The gender war is out of control the way that it is today because people are advocating against logical things that we should be leveraging technology for. And this man allegedly found out that his wife had 3 kids that were not his. What would you do and what do you expect for him to do? Now, I'm not saying that anybody should do anything. Crimes of passion are just that. They're an emotional situation that then turns into a tragic outcome for everybody, and nobody wins. The kids don't win, he don't win, she don't win. She gets to survive, but she don't win either. Nobody wins. It's just the worst situation that you can possibly think of. I'm not advocating for it. I'm pretty sure that he'll go to jail. I'm pretty sure that he'll do a little bit of prison time. But I think that he needs a better lawyer to argue on his behalf because I don't think that he should spend the rest of his life in prison. This is one of those situations, again, and that's why I say every situation is different. You can't just blanket throw an attempted murder, blanket say this, blanket that. No, the reasons matter. The context matters. It should not just be a cut and dry situation. I don't think that he should spend the rest of his life in prison, and I also think that she should go to prison. I believe that women, the same way that a man could go to jail for not paying child support, even if the kid is not his, I believe that women that have children with men and put their name on the birth certificate, but that is not the biological father of your child. I believe that women that are married, that have children with a man and they propose that this man is the father of the child, I believe that that should be a punishable offense and that should be a prison sentence should be implemented for that. I think you should be able to charge somebody criminally for that. Facts, Connie. I believe you should be able to charge somebody with fraud, and I believe that you should be going to prison for that. I think that that should be a chargeable offense, 100%. In addition to that, he should never be required to pay child support. He should also be reimbursed whatever expenses that he spent on those children until he found out when he was the father or not the father of those children. And I just think that we should have harsher penalties for this type of stuff, because you'll be surprised how many grandmothers and great grandmothers and mothers and women that will die with the lie. You will be surprised. Before this technology got to the point to where we can establish some of these things, and we got so many guys that's getting out of prison for the Innocence Project, I believe that there are so many guys that suffered, and there's a lot of you that don't even know who your real father is. There are, man, listen, I seen a woman. I seen a woman.
Your call has been.
How you gonna call me back and then not answer the phone when I called you back? I remember a guy. He brought his girl. Listen, this is a true story. I got stories for days. Y'all gonna start calling me. I got stories like Fat Joe, but better than Fat Joe's in real life. I remember it was a guy. His name was Tim. He was about 5'7", 5'8", 5'7", 5'8", dark skin, like darker than me, chocolate dark skin. And he brought his girl to church with him, because this is when we was in church all the time. Wednesday night Bible study, Sunday morning church service. We used to fast. We used to pray. We used to have stays, all of that. And I was a younger guy, but I wasn't that young, and I was old enough to be able to pay attention to what was going on. And Tim came to church, and he brought his girl to church. And I don't want to say who the mother was or what her name was, because then things will start to get a little bit dicey, because, you know, the platform is growing and people be doing research and stuff. But let's just call him TNT, because her name started with a T and his name was Tim, right? He brought his girl to church and she was pregnant. She was pregnant and she had 2 other kids, and he hadn't had no kids. And so he had got with this step baby mama, and he brought her to church and he said, "Oh my God, I need y'all to pray for my wife. She's having a child. She's having my child." And, you know, she got 2 older, not older children, but they were 2 children that were already established. And, you know, I want to have a healthy baby. And so they joined the church and they got prayer and all of this stuff. And they laid here, "Oh God, bless it to be a healthy baby, healthy to be, blessed to be great. Take care of him, God. No deformities, no this, no that, you know. In Jesus' name, hallelujah." They prayed for the baby and the baby was healthy. And Tim was chocolate faced. Tim was darker than Anton from AntonDaniels.com. This is a true story on everything. On everything. This is a true story. And the baby came out and it looked like a light bulb. I kid you not. The baby came out and he looked like a light bulb. Tim was darker than Tim was like the back of an iPhone. Tim was like, this is Tim. "Hey, Tim." Except you got some eyes cut out. This is Tim. And the baby looked like a ring light. I kid you not. The baby looked like a ring light. Tim had brown eyes. The baby had green eyes. I said, now I was old enough to be able to figure it out for myself. And I said, must be a miracle. I said, this is a miracle. Ashley, look, y'all think man, listen, I've seen some crazy stuff. When I have these conversations about y'all and I tell y'all about relationships, so I say, don't be a step baby daddy and all of this, I'm drawing from real life experiences. And she swore. Now, Tim, he must have been a little slow because he said, oh my God, look at my baby. This is my baby boy. This is my baby boy. And the sisters in the church, Mother Dinkin and them, and even my mother pulled her to the side and she said, you sure that's his child? They knew, but they don't want to offend nobody. You sure that's his baby? Now, Tim, remember, Tim was like 5. Now, this is a long time ago, back when we was in church. This is the 90s. This is the 90s, okay? Tim was like 5'7", 5'8". That boy grew up to be like 6'6", 6'7". If I'm lying, I'm flying. That boy grew up to be 6'6", 6'7". Green eyes, light skin, looked like Drake's baby. I'm capping. You know, I'll call my mama in a minute. Because my mama was there in the church. She was one of the sisters that pulled her to the side.
Hey, Anton.
Hey, Mom. Just a quick question. Again, I'm on a live. And I'm telling this story, but I'm omitting names except for one. Do you remember dark-skinned Tim that used to be in the church, that came to the church?
Dark-skinned Tim.
Dark-skinned Tim came and was the man husband of
The man husband.
dark-skinned Tim, Ma.
I'm working on it. No, I don't particularly.
Okay, man.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah.
Remember when she was pregnant and he thought that the baby was his?
Yes.
When the baby was born, what did you think?
It wasn't his.
Why wasn't the baby his?
It just, for one thing, them babies was high yellow. One thing. I mean, not that you can necessarily go by that. And
What color was the babies?
they was pale yellow, high yellow.
And what color was Tim?
Huh?
What color was Tim?
We talking about the son, Tim?
No, what color was the supposedly the father?
Black.
What color was he?
Blackity black. If it's the same one that I remember, blackity black. What? Why? What is this about?
Did y'all ever ask her about that?
No, because of her specific personality, lifestyle. It was a given. And
So we all just pretended like everything was fine.
well, pretty much. We didn't have another choice. It wasn't our business, but everybody knew we're in. I mean, not unless you was some kind of. I don't know. No, that was definitely not the case.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're so foul.
I'm not foul. See, y'all think I be lying. Listen, bro. Listen. The one thing that I'm not is a liar. You can call me a lot of things. You can say Anton is out of touch. Anton don't know what he's talking about. Anton is this. Anton is that. No. When I paint these pictures and I tell y'all these stories, when I draw off of these real life experiences, I'm not lying to you. I am telling you the truth. Bro, I have seen this stuff with my real eyes. And I was looking like, no way. You don't believe that, do you, big dog? You don't believe that, do you? And they was like, no, it's my dog. That's my son. That's my son. And you know what the worst part about it is? Y'all know what the worst part about this whole story is? I'm about to hit you with the kicker. I ain't even gave you the kicker yet. Oh my God. This dude, let me tell you how much of a sucker he was and why I try to save y'all from yourselves. He named the kid after him. I ain't lying. I ain't lying. He said, this is a junior. This is Junior. I said, Junior? They got a house together. He paid for everything. He was so proud. Hold on, I'm going to call you back, bro. Okay. All right. He was so proud. And so when you see me so passionate, you say, Anton, why do you care? Why do you care what's happening in these streets? Because I've seen too many men suffer. I've seen too many men suffer. I've seen it. When they love a woman, it don't matter how much for the streets they are. They get delusional. They don't see it for themselves. They crazy. There's no logic behind it. They just take it. I know that's mine. I want to believe it. So I don't have to experience it or suffer from it in order to advocate for change. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And so we can't keep letting guys suffer like this. And you can't keep letting women get away with this. Listen, there's a lot of things that I think that women have privilege for and that they can get away with, but that should not be one. Because you know why? You know why? Because that child is going to grow up at some point and he's going to say, who is my real father? That dude, he not my daddy. The kids are the ones that suffer from the lies of the women that then determine whether or not they want to be honest about whether they are, that's the father of your child. That's not right. I think that we all should be able to agree. Man, woman, black, white, whatever. This should not be a divisive issue. Nobody should be divided at the idea that women should be honest about whether or not that is truly the child of the proposed father. That shouldn't be something that we even argue. This shouldn't be. If you don't agree with that, then this is the reason why the gender war continues to rage on. If you don't agree with that, then this is the reason why the gender war is at an all-time raging fire time.